Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a good time from whatever part of the world you're watching from. My name is Akin, and you're welcome to Step by Step Academy. So far, we have been looking at subject of formula. We have learned how to change the subject of a formula from its present subject to another variable present in the formula. We have also seen how to apply subject of formula in calculations. In today's video, we will learn how to change the subject of a formula using function machines. Now, a function machine is a device that takes in an input and gives you an output, and the output is based on the arithmetic operations that goes on between the input and the input and the output. As you can see on the screen, we have an input, so an input goes into the machine, then the machine will operate on that input, and that operation can be either multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, powers and root, or a combination of any of these operations. And then finally the end result will be the output. Take for instance, look at this expression or this equation, which is also a function. Y is equal to 3x minus 5. Now, if I'm to represent this using a function machine, x here is the input and y here is the output. So x is the input, therefore x will go into the machine as the input. X goes into the machine, the first machine. Now, if you observe closely here, the x has been multiplied by 3. So we have the x being multiplied by 3. That means that the function of this first machine is to times the x by 3. Therefore, the output, what will come out of this first machine, is going to be 3x. That is 3 times x, 3x. Now, if you observe again, we have a minus 5. Minus 5 is subtracted from 3x. So that means the function of this second machine is to subtract 5 from the 3x that is coming into it. So 3x goes into this machine. This machine will subtract 5 from that 3x, and the end result will be 3x minus 5, which is our output. Therefore, y is equal to 3x minus output. What comes out of the machine finally is our output. So we can see from this function machine there are two basic operations here. We did multiplication and then we did subtraction. Now we can use the function machine, the inverse function machine, to change the subject of this equation. Presently the subject is y. We can use the function machine to change the subject from y to x. And to do that, we will use the inverse function machine. So we'll start from the right. Now, what is the output here? The output here now will become the input. So y goes into the machine. Now, this first machine here, starting from the right, will do the opposite of what this machine did. This machine subtracted 5. Therefore, this one is the inverse of this machine. It will do the opposite, the inverse operation of subtraction, which is addition. Therefore, the function of this machine, starting from the first machine, starting from the right, is to add 5 to the y that is coming into it. So y goes into this machine. This machine will add 5 to the y. Therefore, what will come out of it will be y plus 5. Now, this second machine here will do the inverse operation of what this machine did. This machine multiplied by 3. This machine multiplied by 3. Therefore, this one will do the inverse operation of multiplication, which is division. So this one will divide what is coming into it by 3. And what is coming into this machine is y plus 5. So you are going to have y plus 5 divided by 3. And that is our x. So the x, which is the output. So for this, x is equal to y plus 5 all over 3. So you can see we have changed the subject of the formula from y. Now the subject is x. This is how you apply function machine in changing the subject of a formula from one variable to another variable. Now let's look at the following examples. Given that I is equal to PRT over 100, make R the subject. Make R the subject of the formula using function machine. So whatever you are asked to make the subject will be your input. Presently, the present subject is I, and that will be our output. So I will be the input. So I will go into the first machine. Now look, R will go into the first machine. Now look at the R. Clearly the R is multiplied by P and T. That means that the function of this first machine here is to multiply the R that is coming into it by PT. So the machine multiplies the R by PT. So what will come out of the machine is PRT. Now again, we see that the PRT that is going into the second machine. The second machine now is to do something to that PRT, divide by 100. Therefore, this second machine, the function of this second machine is to divide the PRT coming into it by 100. And we have PRT over 100 as our final output, which is equal to our subject. Now, to change the subject from I back to R, we now use the inverse machine. So starting from the right, this I that was the output in this machine, in this first diagram, this I that was the output will now become the input when we're doing the inverse function, using the inverse function machine. So I goes into the first machine. Now here we divided by 100. So the function of this first machine here from the right will be to multiply by 100. So the I goes in, multiplied by 100, we have 100I. 100I will come out of this machine. Now the second machine here times by PT. Therefore, the inverse of multiplication, this machine will do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. So this machine will divide by PT. So 100I divided by PT, and that will be our output, which is our new subject. Therefore, R as a subject will be equal to 100I over PT. Example 2, given that f is equal to gm squared over r squared, make r the subject. Here again, f is the output, r is going to be our input. So r goes into the machine, the first machine. Now look at the r. You can see clearly here that the r has been squared. That means that the function of this first machine is to square the r that is coming into it. Therefore, what will come out of the machine will be r squared. Now, how do we achieve this? We can see that this r squared is the same thing as what we have here. We can say this expression here, gm squared over r squared, can be written as 1 over r squared times gm squared. So that means that the function of this is to do the reciprocal. The function of this machine here, this second machine, is to take the reciprocal of the r squared. So this machine will do the reciprocal of r squared. That will give us 1 over r squared. So reciprocal of r squared is 1 over r squared. So 1 over r squared will come out of this machine. Now if we have 1 over r squared coming out of this machine, the second machine, the third machine now, will multiply the 1 over r squared by gm squared. So we're going to have gm squared over r squared, which is our f. Now, to change the subject from f to r, f will go back into the machine. That's using the inverse machine now, the inverse function machine. As the x goes back in as the input to this second machine, to this first machine. Now, this machine here will do the opposite of what this machine did. This machine multiplied by gm squared. Therefore, this will divide the f by gm squared. So we're going to have f divided by gm squared. F divided by gm squared. Now this machine here, please note this reciprocal will remain here. The function reciprocal remains reciprocal. However, when this machine takes the reciprocal of this, f over gm squared, it will become gm squared over f. Please take note of that. Reciprocal remains reciprocal, but at the output there will be a change. The reciprocal of f over gm squared will be gm squared over f. And now gm squared over f, which is the output of this machine, will go into this machine. This machine here will do the opposite of what this one did. This one did square. Therefore, this machine will do square root of what is coming into it. Therefore, we have square root of gm squared over f, which is our r, our output. So that's how we change the subject from f to r. Therefore, our new subject r will be equal to square root of gm squared over f. Example 3. Given that v is equal to u plus 80, make a the subject of the formula using function machine. Here we are to make a the subject, therefore a will be the input to the first machine. Now look at the a here. The first thing we observe is that the a has been multiplied by t. That means the function of this first machine is to multiply the a that is coming into it by t. Therefore what will come out of this machine is 80. So 80 comes out of this machine. Now this is the 80. We all now observe again that the 80 was added to u. That means that the function of this second machine is to add u to the 80 that is coming into it. Therefore, we're going to have finally what will come out of this machine will be u plus 80, which is our v. V equals to u plus 80. Now, to change the subject from v now back to a, v will go back using the inverse function machine now. V will go back into the machine. This first machine here will do the opposite of what this machine did. This machine added u, this one will subtract u. So we have v minus u. V minus u will come out of this machine. This second machine here, this machine here did multiplication by t. This one will do divide by t. The opposite of this, divide by t. So we have v minus u coming in divided by t. So which is equal to our a. Therefore, a as the subject will be equal to v minus u over t. Example 4. Given that s is equal to ut plus half at squared, make a the subject of the formula. A will be our input to the first machine. Now, if you observe closely, you can see that the a here now has been multiplied by half and t squared. So that means the function of this first machine is to multiply the a by half t squared. So what will come out of this first machine is half at squared. And half at squared now goes into the second machine. We can see clearly from this expression or this equation that half at squared now is added to ut, or ut is added to half at squared, which means that the function of this second machine is to add ut to what is coming into it. So we're going to have ut plus half at squared, ut plus half at squared, ut plus half at squared, which will be our final output. Therefore, s, which is our output, s will be equal to ut plus half at squared. Now, to change the subject from s back to a, from s to a, s will go back into the machine. So x goes back into the first machine. And now this first machine here will do the opposite of what this machine did. This machine added ut, therefore this one will subtract ut. We're going to have s minus ut come out of this first machine. Now this machine here multiplied by half t squared. This machine, this second machine here, will divide by half t squared, or we divide by t squared over 2. Now if we do that, that's s minus ut divided by t squared over 2. Now you know in fraction, s minus ut, the division here will become times. The division here becomes times, and as such 2 will go up, the denominator becomes numerator, and then the numerator becomes denominator. That's t squared. So we are going to have eventually 2 will multiply all of this. So we have 2 into bracket s minus ut over t squared. S minus ut over t squared. So our a as our subject, new subject, will be equal to 2 into bracket s minus ut over t squared. Example 5. Given that a is equal to 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, make h the subject of the formula using function machine. We have to make h the subject, therefore h will be the input to the first machine. Now look at the h. Clearly the h has been multiplied by 2 pi r. That means that the function of the first machine is to multiply the h that is coming into it by 2 pi r. So this first machine will multiply the h by 2 pi r. Therefore 2 pi r h will come out of the first machine. Now this 2 pi r h, which is this, we can see clearly again that it has been added to this expression. Therefore the function of this second machine is to add 2 pi r squared to what is coming into it. So this second machine will add 2 pi r squared to what is coming into it. Therefore, we have 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h equal to a. Now, to change the subject from a to h, a here we go back into this first machine. Now, this first machine here, we do the opposite of what this machine did. This machine added 2 pi r squared. Therefore, this one will subtract 2 pi r squared from what is coming into it. So that means a minus 2 pi r squared will come out of this first machine. Now, this machine here multiplied by 2 pi r, which means this one will do the opposite of what this machine did. It will divide by 2 pi r squared. So all of this expression, a minus 2 pi r squared divided by 2 pi r, and that will be our h. Therefore, h as the subject will be equal to a minus 2 pi r squared over 2 pi r. Lastly, given that 2x minus y equal to bx minus 5, make x the subject of the formula using function machine. Now, here, we cannot go ahead straight to start drawing the function machine for this expression. The reason is because our x, which is the intended subject, is appearing in 2 places. So remember, we can only have, in this function machine, we can only have this particular one. It is possible to have several inputs, but in this particular function machine we're dealing with, we can only have a single input and a single output. But here now, I'm having x appearing in 2 places. So what I will do is to bring the 2 terms together, the 2 terms that contain x, bring them together as like terms. Bring them together as like terms. So what I did to achieve that, what I did is I took negative 5 over to this side, and I took 2xy over to this side. So that will give me 5 is equal to bx minus 2xy. The next thing I now did was to factor out x, since x is common between these 2 terms. So I factored out x, that's x into bracket b minus 2y equal to 5, equal to 5. So equal to 5, x into bracket b minus 2y equal to 5. All right, so now that we have achieved a single input and a single output, we can now draw the function machine. So x is the input. Now we can see that clearly the x has been multiplied by the whole of this expression. This expression in bracket is multiplying the x, b minus 2y. That means the function of this first machine is to multiply this x that is coming into it by b minus 2y. So if that happens, we have x into bracket b minus 2y, and that's equal to our output, which is 5. Our output here now is 5. Now if 5 goes back, the output here now is 5. So if 5 goes back into the machine, now the inverse machine, this machine multiplied by b minus 2y, that means that this machine here, the inverse, we do the inverse of what this machine did, which will be division, divide by b minus 2y. So 5 divided by b minus 2y will give us our final subject, x. So x will be equal to 5 over b minus 2y. All right, we have come to the end of today's lesson. And I'd like you to have an opportunity to exercise your knowledge of what you have learned by attempting the following questions. Thank you very much for your time. Please remember to like this video, subscribe, and make your comments, and I'll see you in the next video.